Hey everybody, in this tutorial we're going to talk about how to do some dynamic athletic motions with your characters. We're going to use end effectors, we're going to create some loopable motions, and we're going to add them to our action menu on our character. We'll talk about all that stuff in just a moment. But for now, let's bring in our exercise victim here. We'll go over to actor, character, G3, and G3 human, and bring in athletic Tim, S2. Okay, let's just double click this guy and bring him in. There he is. Handsome Tim on our screen right now. And let's go ahead and get into our first position, which is the push-up. Okay, so we're going to go over to the 2D motion key editor, open that up. And now by default, if we have our hips selected and we try to rotate the hips to bring them 90 degrees, we're going to get this result. And that's because we have the end effectors locked on our character's feet, which we don't want if we want to rotate our character 90 degrees. So let's go ahead and press reset and reset that, and we'll turn off those end effectors. And now when we try to rotate the hip bone, we'll get this. All right, and this is much more like it. Let's go ahead and bring our character into assume the push-up pose there. Okay, so we'll bring him like this, and we'll rotate his arms just like this. Okay, and I'm going to just bring his hand like this. And if your hand is, facing the wrong direction like that, you can always use the sprite editor. Go over here to your sprite editor and just select the character's hand and flip it over. There you go, just like that, and that'll look better. Okay, and let's take the other arm, go back to our motion key editor here, 2D motion key editor, take the other arm, and, oops, that's the wrong arm, right arm, and bring it up like this, and we'll have that wrist kind of facing this way as well. Whoops, we don't want to rotate the nub, we want to rotate the wrist, the bone there. There you go. Okay, so let's have it position like this, and we can even just, take those thigh bones and rotate them slightly downwards. So our character is kind of touching the ground with his legs there. And maybe something like this will do. We'll rotate the hips slightly a bit more. Just to get to a result like this. And we're going to use the hands. This x-axis here is the ground plane. We're going to even bring that a little bit further down. And just like this. And I'm just going to slightly curl those toes there. Just like it looks like they're putting pressure on the ground there, just like that, and we'll work with this just like that. Okay, I think we've assumed the pose that we need for our beginning push-up here. Let's go ahead and press F3 and go into our timeline here. And so what we're going to do, like I mentioned, create a push-up. So we'll go to frame 10 here, and what we're going to do is we're going to bring our character down towards the ground, and in order to do that, we need to lock all of our effectors. Okay. The hands and the feet, because we're going to take our character's hip and we're going to bring him down just like this. So select our character and bring him down like this. Now you can notice that even if we have the end effectors all locked on the hands and the feet, we can still see some sliding like this. And if I go down like that, it'll be hard to do it without proper sliding, and that's not proper form. So what we want to do is let's just Control Z and undo that. Let's activate our stretch bone. So this will give us a bit more leeway when we're bringing our character down into position. So activate our stretch bone here under constraints, and let's just bring them down like this. And when we do so, we have the ability now to kind of, stretch the legs a bit if we want. Not too much, but something like this. And we'll get our character into the correct push-up pose. We can even rotate it if we want, just like this. All right, good. That's a good solid push-up. So now we have this, like that. But you'll notice that the hands are moving. And the reason the hands and the legs are moving is because notice that if I go to this frame, we didn't have the end effectors locked at this frame. So that's why we have the stretching or the sliding between these two keyframes here. So it's very important at frame 1, at the beginning of your motion, to lock all the end effectors, okay? You don't want to do it at the end, you want to do it at the very beginning, and then we get a result like this, okay? Good. Okay, and so what we'll go ahead and do is we'll open up our motion track, which contains our absolute keys here. And we'll just copy this first keyframe, and we'll copy and paste it to frame 20 or so. All right, maybe 25, because what we're going to do is we're actually going to have like that. We're going to keep him down for a couple frames, maybe 5 frames, all right? He's really working it hard. We're going to keep him down for about 5 frames there, and then bring him back up, okay? Just like this. Okay, zoop, down and up. Okay. Pretty good solid push-up. So in order to add this motion to the action menu track, or action menu, we need to go ahead and open the collect clip track And this is where you save all of your motions. So I'm going to just left click and drag for the entire duration of this motion in the collect clip track, and then right click in the collect clip track and add to action menu. Okay? And we'll just call this push up. Okay? Good. Alright, so that's our push up. And if we go to a different frame, like maybe down here, we can close this down. We can right click our character, go to action menu, and make him do a push up. Okay? And you can see it'll create a clip just like this. Alright? Good. Good solid push up. Good job, Athletic Tim. We'll go ahead and delete that for now. We'll just Control Z and do that actually 2 times. Okay, so we have that added onto his action menu. Let's go ahead and do the next motion, which is kind of getting into the starting position. So going from this position to the starting position, which is part of the burpee there. Okay, so we're going to continue on. Let's just click and drag and delete these 3 transform keyframes and just start from this position. Okay, so the next motion we're going to add to our action menu is we're going to slide our character's feet up underneath him in sort of a squat position to get ready for the burpee jump, okay, which is the second part of our exercise here. So to do that, we're going to need to use a couple more constraints, and I'll talk about those in just a moment. But first, again, let's go to frame 10, okay, in order to do our animation. So frame 10, what I'm going to do is we need to bring our character's legs forward, okay? So I'm going to select his ankles here, these ones right here. I'm going to try and bring this one forward. And you'll see what happens is, whoops, okay, our character's leg will kind of do a weird reverse bend like this, and we can essentially make the sole of the foot face whatever direction we want, okay? Not many people can do this physically in the world, so this is not what we want to do, okay? What I want to do is press Control Z first, get it back into the regular position there, and I want to keep end effector angle. So what that's going to do is that's going to allow me to keep my end effector angle for the feet. And now once I click on the ankle, and I can use the move icon here, move cursor rather, I can click and drag and move it like this. It'll retain that angle, okay? Now don't worry about the backwards knee bend, okay? We'll fix that in just a moment here. I'm just going to keep it, bring it kind of close to my character's chest there, and we're going to do the same thing for the other foot here as well. The right foot, we'll bring it over like this, and then we got this really weird position. Looks like he's bending over backwards in some weird position. But the way you can fix this is quite easy. All you got to do is select reverse joint angle. You can also use the 5 hotkey, and there you go. Okay, and do the same thing for the left foot, reverse joint angle, and our character is now into position. Now, the squat looks a little bit weird right now, so what we're going to do is we're going to rotate these toes, okay, just like this. Click the toe section there and kind of rotate it a little bit forward. Do the same thing for the other one. Rotate it up like this. And I want to rotate those heels down a little bit as well to give our character more support. Now, in order to do that, I'm going to select the keep end effector rotation constraint here. And that allows us to select the heel. And if we use the move cursor, we can bring the heel down like this. Okay? You can see our character's butt kind of moving down as well. All right? This is exactly what we want. And do the same thing for the other ankle. Okay? Just bring it down like this. And there you go. Okay? And so we're at this frame like this. We'll have our character kind of, his hips move up a little bit. Okay? Again, the end effectors are enabled. And the stretch bone is enabled, so we can get something like this. Okay? A position like this. I think that's okay. And maybe at frame 5, so we have a slide like this, okay? Slide just like this. And then at frame 15, maybe 5 frames later, I'm going to bring my character back a little bit more even, just like this. And have the hip rotate, okay, just like that. So stretch it out a little bit and bring our head up. Just as a little addition to the previous one. So now our character is kind of getting ready in the squat position. We're getting ready to jump. So you can see we have this animation now. Okay, so getting ready to jump, and we're good to go. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to loop that again. So just like we looped the push-up, we're just going to go ahead and click in on this this keyframe here. Right-click, copy, and we'll paste it at frame 20. Just Control V it, I guess. And then we'll copy the first keyframe again and paste it about frame 30. Control V. There we go. So we have this. Okay, something like this. We probably want to actually click and drag and select these 2 keyframes and bring them maybe back about 5 frames. And I'm going to just take this keyframe, right-click, copy it, because we want to maintain this position for a little bit longer. And I'm going to right-click and paste it here, okay? So it'll be like this then. Okay? So there we have our zoop motion like this. Okay, getting back into that initial push-up position. All right, good stuff. So let's do the same thing. Let's collect the clip, click and drag on the relevant area, right-click, and we'll select Add to Action menu, and let's call this one Starting Position. Okay, good enough, and press OK. And then if we go back here, we can right-click on our character, Action menu, Starting Position. Okay, good enough. All right, so let's Control Z and undo that. And finally, what we're going to do is we're going to do the jumping motion. So for the jumping motion, we're also going to start at this frame, okay? Because we want to be able to loop all these together, okay? And of course, the ends of all these end up in this position. So we're going to just go ahead and click and drag on all these transform keyframes here. And actually, we're going to keep these ones up until this point here. These ones we don't want, okay? Because we're going to change these ones to a jump. These last three ones, delete, okay? So from our frame 15, what we need to do now is we need to get our character in that jump position. So we're going to go to like maybe frame 20, and I'm going to bring my character, stand my character right up. Okay, so we're going to go over here to our 2D Motion Key Editor. I'm going to unlock my hand effectors. Okay, since we need our character to be up. Now let's click and drag that hip bone right there and rotate it. Rise, young men. And bring them up like this. Okay, and we'll go into that position right there. So I think we can also take our character's arms there and kind of bring them like this. Just bent slightly. Okay. As he's getting ready to jump. And we're going to bring him in a position like that. Okay, which arm are we at here? There we go. And something like this will be fine. Maybe give him like a Thriller, Michael Jackson Thriller pose. It's a thriller. Okay, anyways, we'll just leave it like that. And there we go. Okay, so now what we have is we have this. Okay, so we have our character jumping up. And then, 5 frames later, we can have him up in the sky. Okay, let's go ahead and click his hip there and bring him up. Oops, we need to, of course, disable the stretch bone in this case. So let's go ahead and do that. We don't need to keep end effector rotator angle on or anything like that as well. We'll just take all those constraints off. As he jumps into the sky, we can have him, his legs kind of split a little bit like a Michael Jordan kind of jump. Let's take off those end effectors there. Okay, so we are able to split the legs there a little bit. Just like this, and rotate those ankles like that. Okay, and same thing on this side. Boom, there we go. Okay, we'll have his arms kind of up in the air a little bit more like this. Maybe just rotate his elbows like this as well. And let's rotate those like that maybe. Okay. And we're just trying to get our character into the position that we want. That's fine. Rotate this bad boy. And there we go. Okay, so let's give this a little playback and see what we have. Jump like that. Okay. Now from here to here, he's kind of it's like a linear jump. Now for this one, we probably want to use, an accelerate. We want to use a keyframe transition key. All right, so let's go to our last frame here, or the absolute key and the transform track here again. And let's right click and use transition curve for this. Okay, now we can probably use a decelerate for this because he's going to start off really fast. Okay, we can increase the strength of this decelerate as well. Okay, something like maybe a 70, for example. Okay, so let's play back and test that out. Okay, so he jumps really high like this. Okay, and then as he falls back to the ground, again we can just restore, copy and paste all these keyframes here. We'll copy and paste 5 frames later. Okay, copy and paste. Control C, Control V. And frame 10, Control C, Control V. And then this one right here, Control C. And frame 50, Control V. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay. And you can see he jumps and then gets back into position. And if we want, if we want him to float in the air a bit more, we can do that as well. We can have, from this frame to this frame, we can have a decelerate. Alright, so just an accelerate as he accelerates as he gets closer to the ground. So then something like this. Okay. And there we go. just like that. He's doing that little claw thing as he jumps up there. Okay, so there's our burpee, our completed burpee there, right? So let's go ahead and left click and drag rather in the collect clip track. And if you want to get rid of all these keyframes here, you don't want them any longer, you can just right click on your collect clip track and you can transfer to action menu as well, okay? So I transfer to action menu, we'll call it burpee, okay? And it'll just get rid of all those and return your character to the default position. Alright, so now we have no animation on our character. Let's right click on our character and apply those 3 animations. So push up first, push up, and then right click, action menu, starting position. Okay, and then right click, action menu, and burpee. There you go. Alright, cool. So we have all 3 motions together. Push up, starting position, and then burpee. Okay, and good enough. We can just, combine them all into this one burpee motion. Take that clip and zoom. There we go. Alright, cool. Good stuff. So really, that's how easy it is to create some dynamic motion using the combination of end effectors and constraints and a little bit of transition curve editing to create some really dynamic and easy to use motions and add them to your action menu as well. Okay, so that's really all I want to show you in this tutorial, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure you check out our videos on our YouTube channel and our forums at forum.reallusion.com. And I hope to see you in the next video.